My stomach looked like I was 6 months pregnant. The first most noticeable improvement that we both have seen is our skin. Our skin is much more smoother and clear. Let's normalize pooping, because pooping is so beneficial for your health, okay? And just rid things that are gonna cause you more stress and toxic things, toxic people. You will live a beautiful, joy-filled life. Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because if you think about it, I have been in the making of this video for about 7 years now. So my whole entire health and fitness journey, I have been on my gut health journey, if you think about it. And I'm finally at the point where I feel like I educated myself so freaking much and just went through so much trial and error that I'm at the point where I haven't had any gut health issues for about 9 months, which is very rare because I would go through seasons of like 3 months of having no gut issues and then 3 months of having like the worst gut issues. So it was just like a roller coaster ride because of everything that I'm going to be talking about in today's video. And so I really wanted to make this video because I feel like so many people can benefit from videos like this, but also at the same time, I completely understand that the term gut health is so thrown around, I guess you can say. Well, it's very trending right now, especially on TikTok, you know, and I've even seen so many TikToks where it's just like, y'all, I'm just trying to heal my gut, but there's so much information, it gets so confusing, and some people say this, some people say that, some people agree, some people disagree. But with this video, I don't want to add to that confusion at all, and I want to put a huge disclaimer and say that what works for me may not work for you. And I always say that in a lot of my fitness videos because everybody's body is different. Everyone's gut is going to be different. But if it wasn't for all this information online and social media and people sharing their experiences, I wouldn't have healed my gut issues. And so that's why I'm making this video. Again, I'm not a doctor in any way. I'm just sharing my experience, what I've been doing, what I stopped doing, and all the research that I personally have done. So the reason why I have my laptop right here, and please excuse me if I keep looking at it, it's because I took a lot of notes, but at the same time, I don't want this video to be super long, so I will definitely have time cards down below if you want to skip to some parts. Totally feel free to do that. So first, let's talk about the signs of poor gut health. Again, I'm not a doctor, but this is the most popular that I personally have seen within myself, within people I know, within just community on social media, and all of that. So, and even my holistic doctor has spoken to me about this. So the top signs of poor gut health is one, obviously digestive issues. So this can look like painful bloating, constipation, anything that has to do with digestive issues. And then the second one is skin issues. And this is where I've seen the most difference once I healed my gut and improved my gut is my skin. I should totally put on do not disturb on my phone. So skin issues like acne, of course, and eczema. And some other signs that are pretty common is like your energy. You feel very fatigued throughout the day. You have brain fog. There's even studies that link to poor gut health to weight gain and just having trouble losing that stubborn fat. So there's a lot of signs that has to do with your poor gut health. And so with all of that, it is obvious that focusing on your gut health is so important. And the points that I wrote down is, and this is from, I'll have links down below to everything that I'm reading so that you can see it for yourself, back it up with research and science, which I know a lot of you like. So a lot of the points that I got are from the website Healthline, which I personally love because I personally believe that they aren't biased. They, say that some studies say this, some studies say that, take it with a grain of salt, just like what I really push on my channel. And that's what I really like about Healthline. And they also, with everything that they state, they have it backed up with some research articles, which I really appreciate. So the article that I read by Healthline says that the gut microbiome affects the body from birth and throughout life by controlling the digestion of food, immune system, central nervous system, and other bodily processes. So obviously with that statement, your gut is very important because it affects almost every single bodily process. And one thing that I couldn't agree more with is that it says that your gut microbiome affects your central nervous system. So it's going to affect your brain. And there are many studies to back that up. And even then, like growing up, my mom has always told me that your gut is your second brain. And even my holistic doctor said that. So I want you to think about the time where you had horrible gut issues. Were you also having like mental health issues? Were you having a lot of anxiety? Were you stressing a lot during that time? Were you having brain fog? Were you just feeling very sad all the time? So now let's talk about my journey with gut issues. So I first started having horrible gut issues when I first started my fitness journey. And this was back in high school, and I was about 16, 17 years old. And this is when I started getting really deep into weightlifting. I then started, going on social media and seeing what other fitness influencers were doing to build muscle, and they were taking protein. And little spoiler, you're gonna see that is like a huge underlying issue with gut. And so I started taking 100% whey protein. I was just having horrible, painful, pretty much debilitating bloating. My stomach looked like I was 6 months pregnant, and it was so hard and I could not move. I want to go back, let's backtrack a little bit and say that ever since I was little, I've always had a dairy issue. When I was little, I couldn't have milk and like ice cream, and I still would have it, but I would break out in horrible eczema. So I always knew that I had a dairy issue, but I was a little girl, like little girls love ice cream. I loved my ice cream. But as obviously I got older, and then I would get horrible eczema flare-ups to the point where I would get bullied in middle school, I was like, I'm done eating dairy. It's not worth it being bullied, even though that's not an excuse to bully someone when they're going through something. So that was a little backtrack, which goes to show that I shouldn't even been having whey protein from the get-go. So then I switched to vegan protein, and that made a huge difference. However, I was still having a little bit of like gut and skin issues here and there. But at the same time, I was on hormonal birth control, which there are many studies that back up that hormonal birth control can drastically affect your gut health and your hormonal health, of course. And so I thought it was just the birth control pill too. So I got off the pill, got the pill out of my system, which I actually have a whole playlist of me coming off birth control for a whole year. I documented my journey and my experience, and long story short, it was life-changing. I will never go back on the pill. Let's just say that. But I was still having skin and gut issues. Years go on, I thought it was just a normal thing, because there are a lot of fitness influencers that not so much promote, but normalize bloating. And let me just say this right here. Having painful bloating and bloating to the point where you look pregnant is not normal at all. So when these fitness influencers, they try to be relatable, and that is great and all, that they're trying to be authentic, but at the same time, they're normalizing a health issue. Your body should not be acting that way. When your gut is acting like that, it is sending you signs that something's going on. So I always thought having bloating and skin issues was normal because of the fact that I was following these fitness influencers that were normalizing it. But for example, when your skin is flaring up, it is a sign that there is something going on internally with your body. And so I thought it was normal till just previously, actually last year, I stumbled across a TikTok, and I actually have a whole in-depth video of this, and I'll have a link up above, but I was a sponsored athlete for a supplement company. I just was not educated enough on the ingredients of their supplements, because I was fooled by the fact that they were promoting it as healthy by saying it's non-GMO, it's gluten-free and soy-free, but in the fine print there was horrible ingredients that can just wreak havoc on your gut, which is artificial sugars and artificial flavors and gums. And so this is, again, very controversial, but I will put studies up on the screen and down below that just prove otherwise. And let me just read something that actually took a screenshot from the account that opened my eyes, the TikTok account that I saw that made me realize, like, one, I need to stop promoting this supplement company, and I cannot be a sponsored athlete with them anymore, but I also need to stop taking it for myself. In a study, rats were fed a normal amount of sucralose, which is an artificial sweetener, and it decreased beneficial gut bacteria by 50%. They were also seeing a low dose of aspartame, alter the gut and induce obesity in rats. Gums and emulsifiers like maltodextrin and GMO xanthan gum, found in everything from milk to protein shakes to protein bars, has been found to be a gut stressor. It has been linked to intestinal inflammation, IBD, and even Crohn's disease. So the supplements that I was taking on a daily basis, even though it was vegan, even though it was soy-free and gluten-free and non-GMO, it still had those ingredients that was just wreaking havoc on my gut. So obviously I stopped taking that, and guess what? Yes, my gut did a 180. I haven't had any gut issues, no skin issues since now educating myself about ingredients, what I'm putting in my body, and how to improve my gut health. So now let's get into how I improved my gut health. And so first, let's talk about my diet. So we're gonna talk about what I stopped doing. And so the first one is I stopped eating gluten. You know, I do try to be gluten-free when I go out to eat at restaurants and everything, but in terms of like breads and dough, like pastries and all that stuff, I do not eat that. I eat the gluten-free version when I can. And so the reason why I decided to go gluten-free is because, and this is again very controversial, but I just feel like I have read a lot of studies that gluten can be very hard on your gut. You would have to try it for yourself to see if it's beneficial, but if it isn't, then I feel like you have no problem, but just do your own research. But I've just read that gluten is, obviously it's a binding agent and can be really hard to digest, and it can just not be the best for your gut. And also, if you think about it, gluten is in a lot of processed foods. So when you take out gluten, you're basically taking out a lot of processed and refined carbs, which in return is going to be really, really good for your health and your gut. So yes, I stopped eating gluten about 98%. When I have it in some sauces, my body doesn't react like super crazy or anything, but in terms of like breads and pastas and pizza dough, I eat the gluten-free version, but even then, some of these gluten-free products, just be careful, read the ingredients. It can still have just artificial flavors and artificial sugars and gums and all that. So just be mindful of that, because just because it says it's gluten-free does not mean it's healthy. Just like the supplements that I was taking, it said it was gluten-free. It was not healthy. So the next thing that I stopped doing is that I stopped eating dairy. Obviously, I should have known this from the get-go, that ever since I was little, I've always been sensitive to dairy. Again, I would say I'm about 98%, because if there's some dairy in some foods, like a little bit, I notice, again, my body doesn't react like anything like crazy. But for the most part, I'm not eating like ice cream every night, which again, healthier choice. But also I'm not having like dairy milk in my breakfast smoothie or in my cereal or granola and all that stuff. I'm choosing almond milk. And also I did take a food sensitivity test, and it literally said I'm highly sensitive to cow's milk, which I already knew since I was little, but it was just confirmation that I needed to take dairy out of my diet completely. And I just feel really good, because also with food sensitivities, which I definitely recommend getting tested for that, it can also, you know, affect your gut health too if you're sensitive to a food that you're eating on a consistent basis. So get a food sensitivity test. So the next thing that I stopped doing, which I already talked about or hinted at least, I stopped consuming products with artificial ingredients. So things that have artificial flavors, artificial sugars, and gums, of course. So that is like my supplements. I talked about all of my favorite clean supplements for my health and fitness journey in the video that I'm gonna put up on the screen up here. So definitely check that out. And like little day-to-day things like dressings or like crackers, you know, you wanna look at the ingredients to see, you know, is these ingredients, do I know what these ingredients are? If you have to Google what ingredient it is, then that's like a little hint that it's not good for your gut or good for your health in general. So now let's talk about what I started doing in terms of my diet. So I started incorporating probiotics. I've been taking Cites DS-01 Daily Symbiotic. So I have been taking it for about 4 or 5 months, as well as my husband. And a little spoiler alert, we have been loving it so much. And so if you've never heard of Cites DS-01 Daily Symbiotic, it is a 2-in-1. So this is perfect because you can take your daily probiotics and prebiotics at once. The prebiotic is a polyphenol source from pomegranate skin and is non-fermentive. So it is less likely to cause stomach discomfort compared to other prebiotics. DS-01 is formulated with strands that have benefits going way beyond gut health. So this is going to be great for your skin and your heart health. And all 24 of these strands have been clinically or scientifically studied. And that's what I really, really appreciate with Seed and their company, is that they have everything backed by science and they've been studied. And if you go to their website, man, you can learn so much. So I'm sure you've all heard about probiotics, about how, it needs to be refrigerated or it needs to survive your stomach acids and all that stuff. But the one thing that I love about their DS-01 is that their probiotic strands actually make it to your gut alive. So the capsule in capsule via cap, it protects the bacteria from oxygen, moisture, and heat through shipping, and then safeguards the bacteria's viability from stomach acid and bile salts so that they are alive when they reach your colon. Another thing that I totally forgot to mention, that it is free from dairy, gluten, soy, animal products, peanuts, GMOs, binders, preservatives, and it is free of 14 classes of allergens defined by the European Food Safety Authority. And you also do not need to refrigerate it as well. So yes, like I said, my husband and I have been taking their DS-01 Symbiotic for about 4 or 5 months now. Our skin is much more smoother and clear, which is very, very helpful because my husband and I were having skin issues because we were having poor gut health due to things that I mentioned earlier. I have taken other probiotics before, but it's not backed by science. It does not have any research behind it. And so having that, again, just gives me a peace of mind. So if you guys want to try your first month supply of Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic, I do have a discount code. It is Kyla15, and I will have it linked down below as well. So thank you again, Seed, for sponsoring today's video. I am so, so grateful, and let's just get right into the rest of the video. I totally forgot to mention, but I definitely recommend heading over to Seed's Probiotics 101 section of their website because it explains even more in depth on how probiotics are so beneficial for your gut and how do they work and what are they good for and how to choose a good probiotic and so much more. So again, I will have the link down below to that section as well. So I incorporated probiotics, and now let's talk about how I incorporated gut healing foods. So gut healing foods such as fermented foods. So this is going to look like kimchi, kombucha, and if you've been following me for a while already, then you know that I absolutely love my kombucha so, so much. I've been really enjoying trying new recipes, making new recipes of kombucha mocktails, which I'll put up on the screen. This one is my absolute favorite, and what is so funny, this is such a tangent, but my absolute favorite kombucha company just followed me on Instagram. I know this, I had to brag a little bit because I literally screamed when they followed me because I've been drinking their kombucha for years. So I'm just fangirling right now, and it's just funny I'm talking about them while they just followed me today. But kombucha, fermented foods like kimchi. You guys couldn't tell I'm from an Asian background, but I love my kimchi. I love my daikon, which is fermented radish and fermented onions, and just, I love it so, so much. So fermented foods and also bone broth. Bone broth is, oh man, I'm gonna put up on the screen just the benefits of bone broth, but bone broth is so, so good for your gut health. I'll have links down below to my favorite brands. They actually sell little to-go packets, and so I actually like to bring it while I travel, pop it in some hot water, and it tastes so yummy. It tastes like a soup, so I'll have it with crackers, dip my crackers into it, and I just love it so much. So fermented foods, bone broth, and also just eating a variety of nutrient-dense foods, especially fibers. Fibers are going to help get things moving, if you know what I mean, and you want that to happen. And I know as women, we don't like talking about that because it seems dirty or polite, I guess you could say, but let's normalize pooping because pooping is so beneficial for your health, okay? Because I read a study where when you don't poop and you're constipated, it literally can cause so many issues, especially bloating, and because your poop, which is toxin filled, is sitting in your body and it can then eventually leak into your bloodstream. That's what I read. So now let's talk about lifestyle changes, and this is the last little section of today's video. And the first one is that I don't wait until I'm starving to eat. And so this is the one thing that even though I stopped eating those artificial stuff and just eating nutrient-dense foods that are gonna nourish my body, this is the one thing or one habit that if I do will cause bloating to this day. I might be wrong, but when I just breathe in food on an empty, starving stomach, that's when I get painful bloating and I just feel the gas bubbles. I feel it and my stomach gets big. So I make sure that I'm eating. I do not let my body starve. And also that's not good for your hormones as well and your blood sugar and all that stuff. And when I do eat, which then goes into the next point, is that I eat more mindful and slower. So I actually chew my food. And I've noticed that has helped so much with my digestion and bloating as well. So just being more mindful when you eat. So the last point, and this is honestly so important, not just for your gut health, but for just your life in general, and don't click out, and it is to stop stressing, which I know it's inevitable because we live in a very crazy world right now. But just try to control your stress and your anxiety and just lower your stress levels, because stress, again, will affect your gut health. And like I said earlier, your gut and your brain are literally interlinked. Your gut is your second brain, as there's been studies that prove. So I know life is very, very stressful at times, and we all go through things. And let me just say that right there. Don't let social media fool you. Do not let a cohesive feed or, you know, like that girl videos, which I know I personally do, because honestly, that girl videos helped me so much to improve my life and to romanticize my life, which then helped me reduce my stress levels. And I say all of that because, again, stress is going to affect every aspect of your body and your life. It is going to affect your gut, which then can affect your hormones. But if it affects your hormones, then it can affect your gut and vice versa, which then, if it affects those, it then can lead to affecting your heart health, your hair, your skin, your mental health, of course, and just your energy and being able to lose weight, being able to gain muscle, literally everything. I think I'm going to do a whole entire video on how I live a stress-free life for the most part, because obviously things will come within life and that is normal. I want to normalize that, because we live in a crazy world. But if you can control how you react to things and be mindful, your space in terms of like your body, your mind, and your home, and just rid things that are going to cause you more stress and toxic things, toxic people, you will live a beautiful, joy-filled life, which then will help you with your health, will help you with your fitness goals, and so much more. That is like my one goal, and I actually have it on my little whiteboard right there, and it says, enjoy creating content and have fun while doing it, and live a joy-filled life. Be strong and work hard. So that is today's video. I hope this video was helpful in some way, and I would absolutely love to hear from you guys on how what has helped you improve your gut health, because I feel like, you know, again, everybody's body is different, but if there's some other things that I can try or some other things that people can try that are watching this video and read the comments, we can all help each other and then figure out what works best for your body. And if I missed anything, I'll have a pinned comment down below, or I might do a part 2. So just be on the lookout for that if you aren't subscribed. But thank you so, so much for watching. And again, if you guys want to try out Cites DS-01 Daily Symbiotic, which is a prebiotic and probiotic in one, it's a 2-in-1. If you want to try it out for your first month supply, again, my code is Kyla15, which I'll have down below in the description box as well. My camera is about to die, so I think I said everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful, stress-free life. Bye, guys.